I'm Ann Magistro, Superintendent of the East Brunswick Public Schools. Welcome to Spotlight in Education. Today I'm proud to have with me Mr. Robert Murphy, who is principal of East Brunswick High School. Bob has recently been selected by the New Jersey Principals and Supervisors Association as their 2006 Principal of the Year. In this fall, Bob will be recognized in Washington, D.C. by the National Association of Secondary School Principals at MetLife. Considering that you are one of 50 principals throughout the United States, out of thousands and thousands of principals to choose from, this must be an awesome recognition for you. How do you feel about that, Bob?
It's, I guess it's very humbling. It's kind of a surprise. You really don't get into the business, as you know, for that kind of recognition. But I think it's more of a reflection on the kinds of things that are going on in the school, in the high school, the projects that we've done, because as part of the questions that were asked in the entire process, they're really looking at how the leadership style transforms into school change, programs, those kinds of things. So I think it's really a credit to the students and staff. So it's very much an honor.
You know, you've been at the high school for 6 years now. Tell us a little bit about how the high school was when you arrived and how different it is today.
The day I started, in fact, I still remember my wife came in to take us out to lunch, and she was looking around because the building was in the middle of construction, and it really looked like, for lack of a better way, a bomb had gone off in the school. The furniture was still everywhere, and this was a Friday. We were opening for staff on Tuesday. The terminal, the main hallway that was constructed was closed. There were only 2 entrances on each end of the building. The new wing wasn't done, you know, so there was it was in a state of flux. But throughout it all, the reputation of the school, the staff and the students, it was one of the main reasons I had even looked to become associated and applied for the position here. And that hasn't changed. I mean, we had a great staff. We still have a great staff. I can remember our first faculty meeting and talking about our vision. And the biggest concern they had was, how long are you going to be here? And then where are we going to go during that time? And that hasn't changed. If anything, I think the working relationship among the staff has gotten even stronger. The students have always been great. The students are still the nuts and bolts of the school. They come ready to work, and they put out a great performance in terms of their achievement and the kinds of things they do.
You know, I know you're shy about talking about yourself and about your accomplishments and that, but it's obvious that things that happen at the high school are a result of your leadership. Tell us a little bit about your leadership style and what do you do to get the kinds of results you're getting at the high school? Well,
I would have to say I'm very much a process-oriented person. I believe that you work with people to lay out expectations and come to some collaboration in terms of what those expectations are going to be, and then provide them with the room that they need to put those things into play. As some examples, we've had issues in the building last year when we had the bomb threats. To go to the students immediately the next day and explain what happened, what our expectations were, what we intended to do once we found the students, and the help we needed from the students. They were integral in our putting pieces together to ultimately resolve that and take the administrative action that we promised we would take. In terms of parent council, principals council, other formats that we've put in place to get parents involved in discussions with us administratively, students to get feedback on the things that we're doing. Our instructional council, where we have membership from all of the departments in the building, and we look at issues like instruction and not taking time away from instruction. A simple thing, such as when we do the hall decorating at the beginning of the year, was a major fiasco the first year I was here. And we met with the instructional council and said, how can we make this better, and what kinds of things do we need to do? And through that discussion, we put all of those suggestions in play, and now every student gets a chance to see it. We don't miss instructional time. Those are the things that I think work very well. And finally, an administrative team that I greatly respect. I give them the latitude. Each grade level administrator is, in a sense, the administrator for that specific grade. They deal with their attendance and discipline, but more importantly, they know what's going on with the students in that grade. As part of that process, we want parents to do the same. Go to the grade level administrator. Ultimately, I find out about everything that's going on in the building, but it's through all of those avenues of communication.
I think one of the important parts of your leadership is the fact that you truly care about the kids. And sometimes the things you put in place are for their best interest, even though they may not see it that way. Talk to us a little bit about what you saw as being a problem with our prom or days after, what you did to resolve that, and how it turned out since the prom was just a few weeks ago.
Well, when I first arrived, what had been for many schools prom weekend was becoming prom week. We were having attendance issues from the Monday through the Thursday after the prom. The attendance issues became issues of misbehavior, for lack of a better way of putting it, with students while they were down there. I have a real concern for the safety of the students in that kind of a venue. They don't always make decisions, for lack of experience and so forth, that you would want them to make. And being that kind of a situation is not always the best. So we spent last year letting the parents know the direction we were headed, or hoping to head. We let the senior class know the direction we were hoping to head, which was that we were going to adopt a policy or procedure very similar to what other area high schools, such as those in Freehold Regional, where attendance the week after the prom was mandatory, or the students could not walk at graduation. I think by going through that process and let everyone know where we were going to be headed, and also getting the endorsement of the administration and the board, and then making sure everyone understood through a letter and communicating it effectively. The attendance this week has been phenomenal. The students did rise to our expectations. They came to school when they were supposed to, and really no one has been negatively impacted. Maybe a couple of days at the shore, but luckily this week it rained most of the week, so I don't know that they even missed it.
And we both know that just that little item that you worked on could have saved a child's life.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's really what I think a lot of the decisions you make are in the best interest of our kids. Well, one of the things that we attended not too long ago, yourself, me, Holly Howard, and Eric Meyer, who was the, I guess he was the board rep. Eric Walker, I'm sorry, board rep. We went to New Jersey Summit of high schools in our state, and the focus of that summit was to discuss the unique needs of our students as they face the challenges in their future. What kinds of things do you feel that came out of that summit that you were able to implement or to look at in terms of our high school?
Well, I think what was very interesting about that summit is you had so many different kinds of high schools that were there. You had very high-performing high schools. You had high schools from the Abbott districts, and the crux of the entire 3 days was to look at what is a high school diploma. What does a high school diploma represent? And I think some of the information that was shared with us was very eye-opening because in areas such as literacy, when they look at the literacy or reading expectations or levels of the students who are going into technical schools being at an even higher rate or higher level than students are going on to college, and taking a look at what every student needs when they graduate from high school. What we have attempted to do is to look at our program, to look at the way our program is being implemented, and find ways to boost up the rigor, for lack of a better way of putting it. The state talks about rigor, relevance, and relationships as part of their 3 R's with the high school year. The rigor piece of it, when we put in place the senior college experience courses, so that the students who are not necessarily taking AP courses but can do college level work, but maybe the title of AP is a little bit scary. The department chairs in English and math made good connections through Middlesex County College. I know Dr. Ogden was involved in that as well. And we now have college English Comp 1, English Comp 1 and 2 as the senior English course for the students who want to do that. Next year, as an example, we have 306 students signed up for that college level English course as their senior course, in addition to the 90 students who are taking AP English. So we have over half the class, almost 60% of the class, taking college level work in English alone. The same is true in math. So that was one major piece of it. The other part was looking at making the senior year more relevant for the students. So some of the things we're looking at on the horizon are internships, giving students the opportunity to go out and do some career interning so that they see, is this a direction I want to go when I graduate? I mean, the beauty of that is, and I can only relate to my daughter's experience recently, where she did an internship in a field she thought she would like to do. She decided she didn't, and she's doing it as a college student. So her first comment was, I hope I didn't waste all of that money. As a high school student, to have that kind of an opportunity to go out and intern and say, gee, I would like to be a teacher, I would like to be a lawyer, or whatever it happens to be, and get that as an opportunity to say, when I'm done, yes, that's something I still want to do, or you know what, I don't want to do that, before they get into college, I think is a great experience.
You know, one of the things that I think is very important, and one of the things I know that you believe is important, is the connection we make with parents. And I know that you've established a parent council at the high school. You might want to tell us a little bit about that. But also Parent Connect. As a parent of a high school student, I can tell you that's a fantastic tool to be able to get on and see my child's grades at any time. Share with the audience a little bit about your Parent Council and Parent Connect.
Okay. Parents are busier than ever, and we know that sometimes it's very difficult to make some of those communication connections with teachers, especially if the teachers legitimately are not necessarily looking to call from home with the way technology is today. They've got people have caller ID, and the last thing they want is to give up their phone number from home. But there's so many other opportunities available to our parents. Parent Council, what we attempt to do is twice a year meet with all of the parent leaders from all of the parent booster clubs, whether it's the PTA, the Booster Club, PAPA, the band parents, and pull all of the parents together and talk about what's going on in school. These are some of the activities coming up. These are some of the procedures we want to put in place. When we were talking through the change in the week after the prom, we went through Parent Council and explained to them these were some of the things we were looking to do. We also do a budget presentation so that they're fully aware, and when they go back to their respective groups, they're talking with more information than just something that we may have sent home. They have the opportunity to ask questions and so forth. With Parent Connect, every parent has the opportunity to have daily updates on their son or daughter's grades. Teachers are updating their grades online, usually within a day or two after grades are done. We require the teachers to do grading at least once a week. Most of them do more, but many of the teachers do it once a week, so that when a parent goes online, they can check to see what has been turned in, what hasn't been turned in, what are the grades to date. I know at the high school alone, we had over 90,000 hits on Parent Connect this past year. In fact, it was so successful that our intent for next year is that this will be the major communication, because parents and students, if they want to give the password to their son or daughter, and a lot of our students are using that because they're coming in telling teachers they got the wrong grade posted for a course or not. But by you doing that, we think we can minimize some of the things like progress reports that by the time they get it, they're still 2 weeks old. You know, the teacher does it this week, it takes a week to process, and then when they get them, they're not the current grade. Parent Connect is as updated as it possibly can be. That will still do things such as progress reports for students who are in jeopardy of getting a D or an F, but we feel this will be a more viable way for parents to get this information. We're also going to make that connection for parents who did not go online and use it as much as we would like, and encourage them. We'll send you another password or whatever we need to do to get them to get involved.
What other kinds of advice can you give parents to help their high school student?
I think the main thing, they are probably the best advisor, academic advisor for their son or daughter, as they are looking for what kinds of courses they can take. To take a program that is challenging, that provides the rigor, but nothing that's so challenging that it becomes a burden. They're still in high school. What their 10th grade program is and what their 12th grade program, there should be some difference. I think if a student is capable of doing AP work, they should. It may not be in English, it may not be in math or science, but we have other opportunities that show a student can do the more rigorous work, or some of the college level courses that we have available to them. The flip side of that is not to take 95 AP courses. I know that that's an absurd number, but some students are taking so many AP courses that they're up until 2 o'clock in the morning at times doing homework. That's not a balance that we want. Many of our students get very actively involved in a lot of clubs. I think it's a parent's responsibility to help them see what their son or daughter's strengths are after they do some exploring, and then hone in on some of those things. I think everyone's looking at the college resume. The college resume, what they're really looking in all of the discussions I've had with admissions people is, it's not the number, it's the quality. And if a student is doing something in 2 or 3 clubs, or a team in a couple of clubs, but they're actively involved and they're really making a difference in that club, that's what they're looking for. In addition, understanding that we use a process at the high school. Many times, and I know that sometimes parents may get a little turned off. They call and they want to talk to the principal. I will talk with them. But unfortunately, I have to go back to the source to find out or help them get an answer. If it's something with a grade, they need to talk with the teacher and then the department chair and so forth, because most problems are resolved as close to the problem. And by talking to me, it's really just going to make the problem go a little bit longer in terms of getting it resolved. And then finally, kids are kids. Whether they're 10 years old or 17 years old, they're still doing their job on giving us our gray hair. So knowing who their friends are, knowing where they are, ensuring that when they're going out that they're not going someplace where it's unsupervised, those kinds of things. Because sometimes as they get a little bit older, we see that maybe we don't need to be as involved. My advice as a parent and a principal is make sure you're actively involved. And most of our parents do a good job with that.
I think one of the things that parents need to do more of when students, their child goes to a party or goes to someone's house, they're reluctant to pick up the phone and say, is there someone there who's going to be an adult to supervise the activity? And I think we have to encourage each other to do that.
Absolutely.
As a parent, I know my child doesn't like when I pick up the phone and do that, but certainly to find out that there's supervision where they're going, if there's a party or whatever, is really very, very important.
There's a very powerful commercial on TV that does just that. The 2 kids are talking after they both confront their parents and say somebody else is going, and neither one has gotten permission. And I think that's a very important point. They need to not be afraid to pick up that phone.
They need to be comfortable with doing that, certainly. Now, I'm not going to let you get away without talking about the 9th period day. You know, I came here in 1971, and my career started at East Brunswick High School. And way back then, the 9th period day was a wish and desire of the high school staff. Churchill and Hammershaw both have 9 periods, but when the students got to the high school, they lost a period in a sense. We were able to accomplish that this year. Talk to our viewers about what that means for our kids.
Well, it means a lot of things. The reason we looked at the 9-period day, having gone through the Middle States process 3 years ago, we looked at the Middle States process is designed as a self-evaluation. We look with the students and the staff and the parents at what's going on in your school. What are the areas you need to improve upon? What are the areas where it may not be a major problem, but it's something that needs to be considered? At the time, we had over 500 students who were not taking a lunch period. They were opting to take, in a sense, a 9-period day. Even though the lunch wasn't one of those periods, they were still taking an instructional day that was 8 periods long. Many of those students were getting 5 minutes to grab a bite here, grab a bite there, but many of those students were also students who were there for sports after school and clubs after school, so they were leaving the house at 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, and not coming back home until 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and without a lunch period. That was one issue. When we looked at the survey of our graduates, to almost every person, they identified courses they wish they had had the room in their schedule to take. And it was all the same kinds of things. I couldn't fit this in, I couldn't fit this in, I couldn't fit this in. To our students' credit, 97% of our students are taking 4 years of math. About another 90% of our students are taking 4 years of science, or the equivalent of 4 years of science, in addition to the 4 years of English and the 4 years of phys ed. When you start putting those all together, the 7 instructional periods was basically cramming or closing them out of a lot of these other programs. That's what the 9-period day is doing. We are adopting the same time schedule as Churchill's, so we'll be using 42-minute periods as opposed to 45-minute periods. The lunch will be reduced to a 25-minute period, but every student will have lunch, which was a major goal in terms of putting the 9-period day in place. We gave the students the opportunity to select a study hall. And to their credit, out of the 10th and 11th grade, a total of 50 students selected a semester study hall. And I was amazed because I assumed that number might be a little higher, but they want the coursework. So we are responding to what has been a perceived need, and the students are rising to that, and they're taking the courses.
Well, I'm thrilled that we finally are seeing a 9-period day, and I think for our students it's going to be an absolutely outrageous opportunity for them. On a lighter note, I see you have your Mickey Mouse tie on, and you're known. You walk in your office, there's Mickey Mouse, Mickey Mouse. What is this Mickey Mouse? Tell us about, what is your passion with this animal?
I guess it started when my wife suggested we go to Disney World for our honeymoon, and I looked at her and said, "What are you, crazy?" And we came back, and I was hooked. And in fact, my first spring concert as a middle school music teacher at that point, we did an entire arrangement of "It's a Small World" in 6 different languages, and you know, I guess it's gone from there.
Well, on behalf of the Board of Education and certainly the staff and the students in this community, Bob, I want to thank you for being a member of our administrative team. You are a gentleman, you're an educator, you are an outstanding human being, and it has been a pleasure to work with you, and it has been wonderful for our students to go through this high school under your leadership, and I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Move that the Board of Education approve the following resolution. Whereas East Brunswick High School Principal, Mr. Robert Murphy, by working collaboratively, involved the entire school community, teachers and support staff, parents and students, in developing a shared vision to provide a positive learning environment where all students can meet their full potential, thus preparing them for the challenges of the future. And whereas Mr. Murphy's commitment to maintaining an instructional focus while at the same time managing a myriad of administrative tasks has created a positive change that has enhanced the climate and culture of East Brunswick High School and has empowered and inspired others to become leaders within the learning community. And whereas through his supportive and hands-on management approach, Mr. Murphy honors and recognizes staff and students for their efforts and achievements by attending numerous athletic events, co-curricular activities, and recognition ceremonies. And whereas because of his exemplary leadership, together with his dedication and commitment to improving teaching and learning here at East Brunswick High School, Mr. Murphy has been selected as New Jersey's Secondary Principal of the Year for 2006 by the New Jersey Principals and Supervisors Association in conjunction with MetLife National Association of Secondary School Principals program. And whereas, as a recipient of this distinguished award, Mr. Murphy will be honored with all State Principals of the Year at the Principals Institute and Awards Banquet held in Washington, D.C., where he will have the opportunity to participate in a forum to share best practices and expertise among the states. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the East Brunswick Board of Education recognizes and commends East Brunswick High School Principal Mr. Robert Murphy, New Jersey's Secondary Principal of the Year for 2006, for having received this prestigious award. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Murphy.